Narrator says, "This morning, I saw a USAF Quinjet run afoul of a flight of Seraphim. What had just been 30,000 kilos of cutting-edge avionics was now the equivalent volume in marble, transmuted by Crohn's power. Its companions soon followed in its wake, turned to burning chaff by Hellion, Dragoness, and Strobe. It gouged the earth with its impact, striking at its enemy even in death. For make no mistake, this land is the enemy of the human. It is no longer any part of the much-reduced United States of America. It is changed now, made inimical to human life, while at the same time nurturing mutant kind. My name is Shun Zorn. I am a mutant and an X-Man. One of those things is very common now, and the other very rare. And these are the Revelation territories, a land stolen for a second time, a heaven ruled by a devil. It's commonly agreed upon that everything that happened over the last decade originated from a single event, a single moment that marked year zero of the Age of Revelation, when Douglas Ramsey, Revelation, came to Alaska and joined the X-Men. I am inclined to agree. After all, I was there. We were beset on all sides back then. One represented the humans arrayed against us, while 3K represented the mutants. I agreed with Cyclops. Revelation and his entourage brought with them strength. And for mutants, strength has always been equated with safety. I don't think he was mad then. Not yet. He was very clever, almost frighteningly so. And he was very driven, fully frighteningly so. He was Revelation, the heir of Apocalypse. He had been given an impossible task and great power to accomplish it, to ensure that it was the fit who survived, and to ensure that the fit who survived were our people, mutants. But he was still Doug Ramsey, who had been the least fit of his generation of mutants, who wanted to create a better world for mutants. All mutants. How was he to do both? He needed more power. He found his path to it in SHIELD custody. Fabian Cortez, former acolyte, former upstart, former member of SWORD, as Revelation and his companions represented power to US. So too did Cortez represent power to Revelation. Revelation wanted Cortez. But we had enough enemies, and Cyclops was reluctant to attack a hardened SHIELD facility without the proper planning. Doug says, "Agree with me." Sean narrates, and that was when the first line was crossed. Scott replies, "I agree. We hit SHIELD tonight." Sean narrates, when Revelation first took control of the X-Men. Monument to St. Cortez, the first chorister of Revelation, erected at the site of his rescue from unjust Sapiens captivity and elevation to his holy station. Maria Hill died in that raid. So did Magic. But while Hill stayed dead, the Darkchild did not. After that disastrous raid, Cyclops stepped down as leader of the X-Men. Revelation was elected his replacement. Juggernaut left the team after Magic's death, as did I when Cyclops exited in disgrace, which was a mistake. The black hole anomaly that composes my brain is unaffected by Revelation's voice of God. Without a dissenting voice, the X-Men wholly became his creatures. And it would not be long before they were to face their first crisis. It began in Philadelphia, an illness that affected almost everyone, one with a shocking rate of fatality. The city was placed in quarantine almost immediately, sealed off by the military. But not all of them died. Those who survived were no longer human. They were mutants. It wasn't only the people who were changed. What they later came to call the X-virus affected everything in Philadelphia and beyond. The air, the water, the very land itself became hostile to humans. The X-virus was an aggressive environmental terraforming agent. Soon, the only people who could survive in Philadelphia were the mutant survivors of the X-virus. A nationwide state of emergency was declared, and leading the relief efforts, the X-Men. Responsibility for the X-virus was quickly placed on the shoulders of the Gene Terrorist Organization, 3K. They had previously claimed responsibility for creating new mutants from abducted humans. It appeared that they had simply expanded their methods. Revelation quickly became a kind of messiah to this new population of mutants. He began to further alter this changed environment to care for them. With Cortez magnifying his power, revelation could not only speak to conscious minds, but to the very components of living things, coaxing and cajoling them to change according to his design. He forced the land to provide food for all who required it, to provide clean water, shelter. He remembered a land that did all of these things and recreated it as best he could, and they loved him for it. Philadelphia remained a mutant city, despite CDC efforts to reverse the effects of the X virus. It was not long before the United States was disabused of any notion of Philadelphia being returned to them, let alone any of the surrounding lands. Revelation says, this land is changed. Like the people who lived here, who continue to live here, it is not what it was before and never will be again. It is a mutant land. This mutant land knows its own. This mutant land protects its own. And as one of our own, this mutant land will be protected. That was the moment the Revelation territories effectively seceded from the United States of America. The moment when he went from savior to leader. When the danger began. Revelation says, lay down your weapons. Shun narrates, first, they sent soldiers for him. But their soldiers surrendered the moment they heard his words. Word spread. A mutant land for mutants. And we came from near and far. No one said it aloud. No one dared whisper its name. But Krakoa's memory was still fresh in the minds of so many of us. So when they gave up on soldiers and resorted instead to assassins, Revelation had any number of mutants to protect him. And when their assassins proved insufficient, when they had been driven mad by fear, a final choice was made. Washington, D.C. Airspace was protected with some of the most sophisticated teleport shielding known to man. Vanisher should never have been able to teleport anything within miles of the White House. But with Cortez's assistance, Vanisher was, in that moment, more powerful than he had ever been before. The DC Crate. The result of Vanisher teleporting U.S. military's missile to the White House. The United States never fully recovered. The terraforming effect of the X virus spread. No quarantine, no walls or checkpoints could contain it. Within a year, it had spread from Lancaster in the west to the Atlantic Ocean. Now in year 10 AR, this mutant land has swallowed most of the eastern seaboard of the United States of America, and still it spreads. And its undisputed master, the Lord of the territories that bear his name, Doug Ramsey. Revelation. Now, Philadelphia is the seat of his power. The Revelation territories are loose nation at best, lacking the infrastructure of the old United States. But a nation where every citizen possesses a mutant power makes up for any lack. Cortez, the first of Revelation's choristers, has been joined by others, each capable of pushing their master's power even further. His inner circle, his most trusted servants. And thus did Revelation shape the better world he had hoped for. A land where only the fit may survive, and where the fit are mutants, and all built upon lies. For as I said, we live in a heaven ruled by a devil. For as I said, I don't believe he was mad then. For as I implied, I believe he is now. The borders of the Revelation territories are filled with Babels, humans and mutants who have incurred Revelation's wrath in some form. He took their language from them, stripped from their minds the very concept of communication. Children spy on their parents for any sign of dissent. These are so-called Omega Kids, reporting to Revelation Spymaster Quentin Quire. And everywhere, Revelation's chosen, his seraphim, enforce his will without mercy. If we live in a heaven, it is a stolen one. This mutant land was raised upon the bones of the sapiens dead. If Revelation wasn't mad before, I believe he is now, for we few remaining X-Men have uncovered his greatest lie, and its enormity would drive anyone mad. Someone says, shun Zorn. Nice of you to join us. You finished writing your little history book? Shun answers, I did from year 0, Alar to now. Another replies, good. He'll need to get up to speed when he gets here. Because if we're going to set things to rights, my younger self is going to need to know what happened and how this is all his, our, fault.